Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the most important people in your entire life. Now, a lot of times when we ask ourselves that question, who is the most important person in my entire life or the most important people, we think about like maybe our family, we think about our close friends, we think about the neighbors, we think about maybe the educators out there, like the people who are teaching our children or, even teaching us. We think about our job or the business deals that we are doing out there. This is like where the most important people are when we think about it as far as important people go. But very rarely does anybody ever think about the Federal Reserve being the most important people in their life, and that there is 12 voting members of the FOMC who do more to impact the entire globe than anybody else on the entire planet, and hardly anybody knows who they are. You ever think about that? 12 voting members of the FOMC do more to impact the lives of the people around the globe than anybody else in the entire world, right? It doesn't matter how much popularity you have. It doesn't matter what ruler of what country you are. You do not have as much influence on the entire globe than the monetary policy decisions of the FOMC and the 12 voting members of it. It makes these people pretty important. And when you think about it, nobody knows who they are. Like, even I myself, just think about it, could probably maybe name 3, 4 of these people. Jerome Powell being one of them because he's the most popular. Excuse me. John Williams, just because his speech, I've said it so many times. Michelle Bowman, just because I remember when I looked it up earlier today. Like, hardly anybody knows who these people are, and they have so much impact on our lives, on the decisions that we make. It's incredible to think. So now, when I look out there, and I think about like, man, what is it that we need to do in order to understand this economy for ourselves? We really need to take this information in for ourselves. We need to understand it for ourselves, because a lot of times when we listen to some economists out there, they're looking at it from 30,000 feet. They're not standing on the ground as a working class guy like me. Like, how do I relate? Like, I understand what they are saying, and if I imagine myself having hundreds of millions of dollars, then I could probably see it their way too. But I don't, and I got to pay the bills next month. And I got to figure out what it is that I need to do with the inflation running and the interest rates and the, conditions of what everything is and how it is that I want to blame this on politicians, or I want to blame this on, environment, or I want to blame it on society. But ultimately it comes down to the voting members of the FOMC. So now, how is it that we figure out who these people are? Well, you can Google it, right? You just Google members of the FOMC. You can start researching each and every single one of these people. And you can start learning what it is that they feel about the economy, what it is that they have done in their lives, the decisions that they have made, the votes that they have done. See, we can figure out what it is that these people are thinking. And if we can think like they're thinking, not to think it in, not to take it in as a personal belief, but to take it in as the strategy. Well, this person thinks this way. And that person thinks this way. And this person thinks this way. And when you start understanding how the 12 voting members of the FOMC think, by reading their speeches, well, then pretty soon you can have an idea of how they're going to vote for the monetary policy going into the future. You don't have to guess. See, there's never going to be a video out there that is going to give you the answer, ever. Not for you, right? Because nobody knows who you are. Like, I don't care if you're watching this video or the next video or the previous video. Nobody in that video knows who you are. Only you do. And so when you go and you look at that information, you are taking it in for yourself so that you can make the best decision for yourself. I mean, whether or not you start that business or wait or think about like maybe investing it instead as far as the money goes. This all comes down to the decisions that you have made, leading you up to this very point, from all the information that you have gathered. And if you allow somebody else out there to then say, hey, this is the way the outcome is going to look, without you taking in the information for yourself and to say, well, maybe it won't. See, if you take this information in for yourself, no matter what you have done, you are going to intuitively start making decisions for yourself, right? But if you don't know, if you don't believe yourself, you don't believe the information that you see, right, then what you are going to do is you're going to rely on an external. It's very difficult, right? It's very difficult to see the outcome for yourself, because what that is somebody else's decisions that are being made out there. I don't mean to get like kind of out there in thought, and kind of go rambling mindlessly here, but this is a very serious topic, and this is why I'm going to start doing live streams that are for members only. And I'm not trying to exclude the rest of the people out there, because I think the information is there for you, and that's what this point of this video is. Go research the 12 members of the FOMC. Learn what their thoughts are. Learn what their past votes are like. When you figure that out, you can figure out how they're going to vote going into the future. Read their speeches. I mean, this is what it's all about. But now I want to start concentrating this community down to the most serious people, and that's why, a members only is $1 a month. Think about that. That's not very much money to be part of a community that is serious about figuring this stuff out for ourselves and not listening to other people, right? As far as what their outcomes are going to be like, we need to figure out our own outcomes. So now I'm going to come back at 3 o'clock Pacific time today, right? And we'll do a live stream, members only, talking about the 12 members of the FOMC. We're going to talk about some of the things that they have said. We'll talk about some of the conditions in which that they are looking at the economy in. We'll read some of the past speeches that they have done, right? This is how we figure this stuff out for ourselves. Again, like politicians out there, they don't know. They don't know. You could probably go to a politician right now, any one of them, and ask them to list off the 12 members of the FOMC. I'd be surprised if they could do it. Right? I would be really surprised if anybody could really do it out there if you just asked anybody on the street. Right? Hardly anybody ever talks about these people. And yet they have so much importance on our life. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. I encourage everybody to become a member of the channel. It's very inexpensive, right? $1 a month. You'll concentrate it down to just a handful of people who are most serious about this. Right now, I believe there's a little over 100 members to the channel. The live stream should just have a handful of people in it, because most people are probably busy on a Saturday afternoon. The video will be nothing but members. It will never be uploaded for regular view, for public view. It will just be exclusively for members only. And this is how I'm going to, bring this community into a tighter thought, into a more exclusive thought, so that we are serious about what it is that we need to do for ourselves. I think this is really the only way to do it. And by doing this, again, it's just like, I'm not trying to exclude anybody out of it. I just want to be in a position in which that I have only the most serious people, participating within it. And I feel this is probably the most appropriate way of going about it. All right. Enough with that. Uneducated Economist, you guys let me know.